no. First time.
مرحبا متابعينا. Hi everyone. اليوم عنا بث كتير بيحمس، وبعرف دائما بنقول لكم هيك، بس لا اليوم غير، لانه معنا لاول مره معنا مشي ماركة العطور العربية أجمل. ومش بس هيك، معنا عبد الله اللي هو الديبيوتي سي او أبدullah أجمل، عشان يتحدث شوي عن العطور وعن الماركة، وكمان أحلى شيء مثل ما عودناكم إنه عنا مفاجآت بآخر البث. فبدي أعتذر منكم بالأول، عبد الله ما بيحكي غير إنجلش، فرح أسأله أنا بالإنجليزي، ورح أحاول أترجم قد ما بقدر للعربي. Okay? So, hi Abdullah.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We're very excited to have you with us, and
likewise.
We're super excited to know everything about Ajmal.
Everything. Do you have a year?
I have a year. I have all the time. I have all the time in the world. So, would you be able to describe Ajmal as a brand in one word to me?
Do you know, we actually did a survey a few years ago, and to validate the word that we always believed represented the quintessential essence of Ajmal, and it's trust. And normally, in a category like fragrances, you would not think that what has trust got to do? You know, it's a fragrance. You put on a fragrance, you smell nice, or you don't like it. Simple as that. But because our origins are from commodities that has a lot to do with the traders' words. So my grandfather, who started the business about 70, in our 71st year this year.
Oh wow.
Alhamdulillah, yes. So when he started the business, it was predominantly oud and then oud. So as you can imagine, there are no ways of categorize. Well, there are categories, but there are no tests for it. So for example, gold has 22 carats, 18 carats. Diamonds have their own measurements as such by governments, so they have standards. Whereas commodities like oud oil, oud, it is very easy to be unscrupulous and cheat people. So that's the reason why trust is so important. And initially, the brand was not called Ajmal. We adopted that because our customers at the time only knew the commodity by Ajmal. Ajmal's oud, Ajmal this, Ajmal that. So we adopted Ajmal was my grandfather. His first name was Ajmal. So Ajmal Ali. So then we adopted that for our brand name and our family name.
Nice. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and translate that.
Please.
So كنت عم بسأل عبد الله إنه إذا بيقدر يوصف لنا ماركة العطور العربية أجمل بكلمة واحدة، وحلو إنه وصف لي إياها بكلمة ثقة، لأنه بالعطور خصوصا لما عم تكونوا عم تستخدموا عود أو مكونات كتير صعب تحصلوا عليها، سهل إنكم تستخدموا مكونات غير ما تكون أصلية، بس هن لأنه في كتير ثقة بمنتجاتهم، الناس كتير بتثق العطور تبعهم والكواليتي تاعت العطور تبعهم. والماركة مسمية أجمل على اسم جده لعبد الله، وماركة صار لها هلا 71 سنة معنا بالاندستري وكثير فخمة. هلا بدي أسأله مين هو الزبون المثالي للماركة. So Abdullah, can you let me know who is the ideal customer for Ajmal?
Anybody who pays money. Pretty much. So typically our bandwidth of clientele tends to be between the ages of about 25 to 45. Male and female is almost 50-50. Regionally we cover, obviously originally one can say that we are a Khaliji brand as such.
Yeah.
But now over the years we've become what I would like to call a farm to fragrance brand. So what that means, and I think we are the only ones in the world that I know of. So normally you would have people who are producers, manufacturers or perfumers or distributors or retailers or all of them. But nobody goes one step back and has their own plantations for raw materials. We also do that. So today we are an end-to-end perfumer, a fragrance house that can create fragrances which we do for the ordinary customer. We have a lot of high net worth individuals that we do bespoke fragrances for. We supply raw materials to some of the biggest perfumery houses in the world. So I think we are covering the entire spectrum when it comes to this kind of our category of business. Having said that, typically our customer is somebody who's very rooted in tradition, but with a very modern outlook. That's how I would describe it.
So الزبون المثالي لماركة أجمل هن كثير ناس بتفكرها ماركة خليجية لأن عطورها كثير غنية وعالمية. بس عبد الله كان عم يمزح بقول أي حدا اللي معه مصاري basically. بس لا هلا غير المزح الزبون المثالي لماركة أجمل هو الناس اللي الشخص اللي عنده جذور عربية، جذور كثير تقليدية بس بطريقة حديثة. فأي حدا فيكم بتحس إنه هيك مواصفاته أكيد هاي الماركة لإلكم. وخبرونا أنتم بالكومنتس كمان إذا أنتم بتعرفوا الماركة أو إذا مستخدمين عطورها من قبل وشو عطوركم المفضل. خلينا نشوف شو رأي عبد الله بالمنتج الوحيد من أجمل اللي هو بحس كل شخص فينا لازم يكون موجود عنده. So Abdullah, I was telling them we're about to ask you, what is one Ajmal product you believe everyone should have?
Oh wow, that's like asking a father which child is their favorite. Although most parents I think do have favorites.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but they never actually openly say it.
It's safe to say that I'm my parents' favorite. I'm sure my mom's watching, so she can verify that.
I don't know your family, but I would tend to agree. So. And as much as I'd like to say that I would be the favorite, but I am fairly confident it's my younger brother.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's always the young one.
It's the younger one. It's always and he's the youngest. So, to be honest, I would say that there are two benchmarkings. As I was mentioning earlier, we cover the entire spectrum. There was a time when Ajmal was only known for Arabic, very dark, very heavy Arabic fragrances. But since the global trends have changed, and my mentor, my uncle Nadir, he passed away, he was the nose of the company. He was the first one who created the true fusion. The way we see with the big brands today, he did it in 1992. So our first brand of that sort was called Sara, and he did a fusion of the Eastern raw materials with Western approach and Western raw materials as well. So that was a true, what we call a Floriental or an Oriental. Now, the reason I explain so much of that, because we have the darkest of the oud fragrances, and alhamdulillah, I'm very proud to say that, and I know from very, very good sources that even internationally, if any big fragrance house is looking for oud benchmarking, it is our Shams. So that is, if you are looking for a hardcore oud something, right? Shams would be the must-have, right? It has been a classic since the 2001, and it still remains. It's a cult fragrance. We've recently launched a Dhangrood Qadim. Again, it's an ED feed foam. I believe that's gonna break all records for us. I think that's a try. So that would be in the category of if somebody's looking for something in the very, very heavy oud Oriental. Let me move the scale somewhere in the middle. So somebody's looking for something that is Arabesque, Khaliji, but not as heavy, right? So there are references like Mukhallat al-Maliki, okay? We call it, another reference, we call it Mom, is Mukhallat Oud al-Mu'attaq. So then we have Mukhallat Shams, we've got Mukhallat Shams. These are moving slowly, let's say, in the direction where maybe somebody like yourself could wear, who doesn't want something too heavy, but it should not be very French either. Then we move further into the direction where it is now getting very international. So we've got a reference called Amber Wood. It transcends all cultural and gender biases as well. So we sell huge quantities both in the Khalij. We also export to 52 countries around the world.
Wow.
It has got acceptance from America to Singapore. Perhaps not as much, perhaps in Asia, but in the West it has been accepted. It is worn both by men and women, so it is gender fluid, and it's a beautiful, beautiful fragrance as well. But it is slightly on the heavier side. It is a more ambery, woody fragrance.
Yeah.
And then we have the absolute extreme, which is the Western French style fragrances. So one of them is here. Actually, we've got three of them here. So we've got Evoke, a beautiful musky, ambery, powdery fragrance. Excellent for the day. Please do try it. I think you will really appreciate that. Very, very sophisticated, very velvety to wear, very provocative, very sensual, but not loud.
Yeah,
right?
Very subtle.
Now, very subtle.
Yeah.
You want to go a little louder, then you go for Aurum, another classic of ours. It is a fruity floral. It's a great day fragrance. It could be an evening fragrance as well. And again, very French. Has an oriental touch to it because it is loaded with patchouli, so it tends to last quite a bit as well.
It's very long lasting.
Absolutely. And then if you want something very French, and again, another classic of ours called Raindrops. You can try that as well.
I've heard so much about it.
This is a very sophisticated fragrance. It is done very, very well. It's been on our stables for the last 15 years and it's still a bestseller around the world.
I love it.
No, it's absolutely fantastic. Very woody, but very, very rosy floral as well at the same time. Extremely long lasting. The other thing, I come back to the word trust because our customers want, and it's really wrong in our industry to use the term value for money, but the reality is everybody wants for the value for the buck, right?
Yeah, of course.
We don't do EDTs, for example. All our fragrances are minimum dosage 15%, so they're EDPs.
Yeah.
So they need to last,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
And the only way to make them last is obviously with higher dosage. Shams, as I was mentioning, is at 22%. So these are some of the classics and go-to fragrances. You couldn't go wrong with them.
Yeah.
And there are many. I mean, we've got about 300 fragrances in our stores anytime anybody walks in. So unless you are impatient and if you're able to articulate the type that you like, I think we would have 100% conversion. Most people would walk out happy with the kind of fragrance they would like.
Amazing. Okay, next question. So basically there's not one specific fragrance, guys. You decide which one's your favorite.
Absolutely. And you got to go in and have a conversation.
Of course.
In any, not just in Ajmal, any time you want to go and buy a fragrance, have a conversation with the beauty consultant, right? Beauty advisors. You tell them what you like, give them references of the kind of other products that you like. It just helps them sort of narrow your choices down. Otherwise, what happens is everybody pushes with, this is new. That's not the way it should be. Perfumery buying, like enjoying, is an indulgence.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be done.
Absolutely. Can you tease a new job?
Absolutely. It's a good job that you had warned me before. So I am prepared with something, if I may. Sorry, it's a bit heavy. So many of you may know that we had a product we launched in the last quarter called Amir 1. Amir, finally we managed to convince. Amir is my father's name.
Oh, yes.
He had launched fragrances in the names of his brothers and sisters all his life, but he never launched one in his. So about 3-4 years ago, when we knew this was going to approach 70 years in 2021, we insisted that he launch something, and he made a comeback. He did the development himself. He's not so much operationally involved, but he wanted to get involved in this one. And so I'm going to drop. It's not been launched yet. Inshallah, it's going to be launched in a couple of weeks. It'll be in the stores. It's called Amir 2. It's part of the series, and it's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful fragrance. As you can see, quality all the way. The glass is beautifully molded. You don't get this kind of molding in glass because normally it would just go that way. This is a completely new technology, and nobody's used it till now anywhere. The raw materials obviously are very, very sophisticated, mostly naturals, very high end. All the gold parts you see are gold plated. The enamel you see is hand painted.
Wow.
So everything is very, very super luxury in this one.
Yeah.
And yes, it is a fairly heavy oriental because it is more to represent his personality.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
That's beautiful.
Would you like
So,
to try a little bit?
yes,
Unless you are a little...
I ran out of space, but I would love to try it.
Oh, just somewhere, if I may.
Of course. Ooh.
It's very rich.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
very, very rich.
Extremely. So I'm going to translate that really quickly.
Please.
عبد الله كان عم يحكي لنا انه هذا عطر من الاجد الجديد ورح يوصل على نمشي قريبا. العطر كثير غني، ريحته بتدوم كثير طويله. الديزاين للعلبه نفسها عليها رسمات بالايد مطلية بالذهب، يعني عطر عن جد فخم إن كان لكم أو تهدوها لشخص بتحبه. ومثل ما قلت متابعينا بذكركم إنه عندنا مفاجأة، فما تروحوا لأي مكان، رح نعلن شو هو السؤال بعد شوي عشان نختار الفائزين، بس ركزوا معنا عشان السؤال حيكون عن الموضوع اللي عم نحكي فيه. So, if you were to gift someone something from Namshi.
Okay.
What would you go for?
Well, we have 3 gift sets that I would love to gift, your fans. It would be nice if there are some questions, or if they could get a little interactive, and then you do the selection. I wouldn't want to do that.
Okay.
Let's just do it. Let's see if they can ask some complicated, tough questions. Or fun ones, for that matter.
So someone's asking, they like to layer fragrances.
Okay.
Which 2 from what we have here would you advise them to layer?
Okay, so what I would do is, if is it a male or female?
Female.
Female, of course. I would first put Evoke for her, because it is predominantly a powdery, musky fragrance. So it layers it. You set a foundation, and that helps the overall composition last longer.
Yeah.
After that, I would not go for raindrops. I would definitely go for an aurum, because it has far more character, and then the kind of notes that Evoke has, the fruity floral part really complements it nicely.
Yeah.
And it would flow like a beautiful symphony.
Wow. Okay, so I hope you like that answer because I love it. فمشاهدينا إذا عندكم أي أسئلة هاي فرصتكم تسألونا أي شيء بدكم عن العطور. وأنا رح أسألكم سؤال. أوكي. للي هلا في وحدة عم بتقول أنا هلا داخل البث ما أعرف شيء. أوكي اللي ما بتعرفي شيء نحن عم so someone was like I just entered let me know what you guys are up to.
Okay.
So I'm just explaining for those who just joined. اللي هلا دخلوا على البث نحن رح نعلن عن 3 فائزين بعطور عربية من ماركة أجمل. مجموعة كتير فخمة مثل ما أنتم
Oops.
مثل ما أنتم شايفين. Sorry about that. حأسألكم سؤال واللي كان متابع معنا حيعرف الجواب. ماركة أجمل ما كانت دائما اسمها أجمل. هن سموها على اسم شخص بعد كم سنة من إنشاء الماركة. مين هو الشخص؟ مين هو أجمل؟ شو بيكون؟ So basically I decided that for them to win, I wanted them to be tuned in from the beginning. So I'm like, who is Ajmal named after?
Good
So
one.
let's see who is gonna answer. لا مش أبو. People are saying your dad. Okay.
No.
Yes. So we have 1 correct answer so far. Oh, okay, they're starting the... Okay, I'm gonna start. Wow, everyone's like, they immediately found that. Okay, the comments are exploding.
Wow.
So a lot
So they didn't Google.
No, they didn't have time to Google.
Exactly. So.
اوكي. سو كثير منكم عم بتجاوبوا كثير بسرعة، فرح نبلش نختار أول فائز. في عنا شو اسمها؟ معاني الشوق. حامل سكرين شوت. ألف مبروك لتيو تي 12374. Congratulations. جاوبتي إنه على اسم جده، على اسم جد عبد الله. رح تحصلي معنا على مجموعة النسائية. رح أختار كمان شاب بنات عشان يختاروا. أمل عودة ألف مبروك. Congratulations أمل عودة. You are our second winner and now we have one more male winner. Let's see who is answering. We need a male, guys. Let's see.
Yeah, definitely. Considering Shiro is targeted to men.
Yes.
I think.
So we have Hassan Mohammed. ألف مبروك حسن. So these are our three winners. رح نتواصل معكم بعد البث عشان ناخذ معلوماتكم ونوصلكم الهدية. ألف مبروك. مثل ما قلنا ماركة أجمل هي مسمية على اسم جد عبد الله. عبد الله, do you have any last words for us that you'd like to add?
I think one is obviously to do with the relationship between Ajmal and Namshi. Yeah. It's a winning relationship. We're growing as far as business is concerned, but I think it only reflects the appreciation that the customers have for our products through your platform. Mm-hmm. So thank you very much for that. I always want to thank my grandfather used to say that I don't have customers, I have angels.
Oh.
So I think I would like to end with that. Our customers, our ambassadors, and as my grandfather said, they're our angels.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, and thank you,
thank you
for your time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.